YouTubers. Some are wondering, what am I doing today on this fine Sunday, November 8th, 2020? Well, here it is. It is now installed in Linux. It's the Westin Automotive 58-31175. At first glimpse, it does look awesome. But when you get bumpers like these, however, there are some things to consider now. Certainly a few things I wish I would have known beforehand. Now, I'm not going to say I have buyer's remorse, but I am going to say that I am filled with a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas kind of deal. So, and again, a lot of things to consider. So because of this, and I want to ultimately end this video on a positive note, that's why I'm going to start with the things that I don't like. So, let me give you a little walk around and let me elaborate on what it is I am talking about here. My biggest issue of all is the amount of space between the grill and the grill guard. Now, it's a bumper and grill guard in one. I feel it really comes out too far, and that could pose a problem. Now, I don't know why it has so much space in here. It's I believe it's 8 inches, give or take. Now, I could understand them having to do this on the 2nd and 3rd generation Ram because the grill came up with the hood. You obviously need that swing around space. That is simply not the case here with the 4th generation. So, why they felt the need to do that and make it come out this far, I couldn't tell you. But from the back lip here, where it pretty much aligns with the grill, to out here in the front receiver, we're talking a whole foot. So now if I want to, let's say, put a bike rack there, now it really, really is going to stick out too far. The only thing that saves me is that I have a slightly smaller wheelbase having the 6.4 inch box here, not the 4-door cab 8-foot bed combo. But if you have that combination, definitely something you want to consider, definitely a concern that you should have. Now, my opinion is this wouldn't be so bad if you could see the bumper from where you're sitting. Now, mind you, if I stretch my head up like so, I know there's some sun glare. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up. You can see the corner of the bumper, but otherwise, you can't see the bumper from where you're sitting, so you don't know where the front is. Just further adding to that issue that I have about adding to the length of the vehicle significantly, when I feel, for the reasons I just mentioned, it didn't have to be so long. So this is another thing to consider. So regardless of which model you're looking at, whether it be this Westin Automotive bumper I bought or a ranch hand or whatever it is you're buying, do consider this and see what some of the inside of the truck photos look like to see, can you see this bumper from inside? I was kind of hoping I would, and there are other models that do, but simply not the case on this model here. Here's another thing I'm not grooving on. So yeah, my Linux guy kept my stock wheel wells, my fender liners. But yeah, look how that comes past. What is that all about? Now, mind you, this generation spanned for 9 years, 09 to 2018. And things can certainly change within the generation. So sure, while the sheet metal might all look the same on the outside for 9 years, certain things can change, and you're going to see something else that this didn't seem to be compatible with. I'll get with that in a second. But, yeah, I think they could have been better about that. And here's the other issue I'm about to expose. Now, coming from up top, this is part of the fan shroud here that would have attached to the back of my stock bumper. And there was nothing in the instructions saying to drill holes here on the flange, but that's not even in the instructions. Why could this be the case? And then if you come under the truck with me, I'll show you what it is. And I think I have a theory as to why this might have happened. Okay. See, you can see it from under here as well. So far, it hasn't affected anything. Oh, you can see the back of the receiver here. Yeah, so far everything's worked as normal. And the only way I could completely take this down is if I undid those lines over there to take this out. Now, here's my take on why I think this might be the case and why this happened. And another important thing to consider, as I just pointed out, This generation spanned for 9 years. In fact, the first 2 years of this generation, '09 and 2010, it was still being called Dodge. Not that that really has much of anything to do with it, but remember, you also had a few different engine options for this generation, and this was the last generation where you could still get the 5.7 Hemi in the heavy-duty trucks. So, and this is part of Ask the Questions, when you're looking at a particular make and model of bumper. What year, what truck, what engine option did they have? Maybe when Westin designed this bumper, maybe they had a diesel truck. The Cummins diesel is a longer engine, being a straight 6. Maybe it didn't have that shrouding there, those splash guards. It's going to be a little bit different underneath in terms of the fender liners and what kind of shrouding they're going to have underneath there. Could even well be the difference between the 5.7 and the 6.4, because let's not forget, the 6.4 didn't come to the scene till 2014, almost 5 years after this generation began. So this is something to always, always, always consider when you get any kind of upgrade like this. You know, and do email the manufacturer too, so that way you have a paper trail. So if you bring forth to them these concerns, they say it won't be an issue or will fit, and now it doesn't, you have a chance now of creating a paper trail and making a case to get your money back or do something to make them, you know, fix the problem. So those have been my 2 issues thus far. So see how this pans out. It's not like that thing was flopping around or anything. So far it hasn't caused me any issues because I guess it's aerodynamically shielded. But still, I feel it doesn't look good, and that's not what I should have to be dealing with for the money that I had to pay for this. Just a few other pointers before I start digging into what I do like about the bumper. When you're going to get a bumper like this, you do want to consider weight. Now, every truck is going to be affected differently. In the case of my truck, I haven't felt much of a difference. Maybe in my mixed driving, I lost maybe just a mile per gallon, if that. And that's largely due to the fact that I'm geared down with the 410 rear axle. So, something to consider there. Remember, this was the generation where you could still get the 5.7 liter. So, if you have the 5.7 with only the 373 gears, let's say, you're going to have a slightly lower payload in GVW. And, you know, if you really, really use this truck for work, this is something you got to consider. And this kind of will help explain now why I also got the 3500, just the higher GVW. And also the simple fact that all of today's quote-unquote 3/4 ton trucks are really just detuned 1-ton chassis at the springs and the brakes. So by getting the 6.4, which was an optional thing for the gas engines in this generation, by getting the 6.4 and the 410 gears, I really upped my payload in my GVW, knowing that I might be adding accessories that could slightly subtract from it. So my particular truck here, not really fazed by it, still accelerates the same. Out on the highway, the fuel economy system kicks in when it usually does, so in my particular case, didn't really affect the gas mileage. But if you have a different axle ratio or a different motor, maybe it will. Something you want to consider. And on that note, not just Westin Automotive, but any manufacturer for that matter, should do a better job of elaborating how heavy their bumper is, and maybe informing how heavy the stock bumper is for comparison purposes. So in the case of Westin or Ranch Hand, well, Ranch Hand I know does give the weights of all their bumpers, but should give the weight of that stock bumper for comparison purposes, so you can make a more informed decision on that. So you do want to take that into consideration as well. Okay, so with all my issues and concerns out of the way, now let me start showing what I do like and what actually drew me to this model. So you see, a regular grill guard just connects to 2 points. Not very strong. But this is a grill guard bumper and hitch receiver all in one, welded as one whole piece. The Schedule 40 piping. So, very strong. This is going to be a lot stronger. Now, there were other models that, you know, the bumper wasn't as long, but didn't have this. Or you could, but you actually had to drill the holes and just send a couple, and you had to through bolt it pretty much. It was exactly what it looked like. It was an afterthought. Not the case here. This was built from the ground up for it, and has a very high rating. I forget the exact rating, but it will say in the website. And again, I'll leave the link in the description for it. So that is something I like about it. Another thing to consider. And as you can see here, I have provisions for bow shackles right here. But look how they're aligned with each other. So I could use something like a hitch mounted plow if I wish to do so. So this is a very versatile bumper. It's a very strong bumper. And again, it had that front receiver I was looking for. The only other one that I knew of was that the guy carried. Well, no, he didn't carry it. Was Ranch Hand, but I already had my fiasco with Ranch Hand with their side steps. So I said to hell with their bumpers. This is what my guy carried. And it seemed very similar to the Ranch Hand that I had wanted. I actually like this too. Look at that. Looks like a honeycomb, just like the stock grill here. So all in all, I don't think it was a bad bumper. Besides the two setbacks of the splash guards and the shrouding, and I will still bring that to Westin's attention and see what they have to say about it. But yes, you have your provisions for your license plate right here. This is for your intercooler if you have it, and that's my big thing. That's my big theory. I think they designed this bumper around the diesel truck. Maybe that's why they also did what they did, but I am going to try to find out why they did what they did. It didn't stick out too far. So those two issues aside, if they could have just brought the bumper inward a little more and a bit upward, would have been awesome. It would have been exactly what I was looking for. But hey, this one will suffice. This one will do the job. Very tough. So in the end, I think it was a great investment, and I just like the security factor too. It's going to reinforce the front end if there's ever a crash. My area is really starting to have a deer problem, so, and I know the ranch hand versions of these Legend, people have all sorts of anecdotal stories how it saved them, because again, the deers are a big problem now where I am. So can't wait to see what this can do. And in fact, I actually put this to use the day I brought it home. I put my front ball hitch in it so I could maneuver the trailer around and get it exactly where I wanted it to. So that was actually very good. That's really all I have to say for now. Other than that, I haven't really had it too long to really see, am I going to run into problems in the long term? But I'm afraid there's only going to be one way to find that out. Well, hopefully this was helpful, especially to those who might want to consider this particular model of bumper that I bought. Now you know what to look out for and what to consider. Other than that, I'm just going to keep on driving the truck, see what this thing does, see what it's like to live with this thing. Like I said, I am going to bring those issues forth to Westin and see what they got to say about it. Other than that, any questions you might have, you can feel free to leave them in the comments area. Have a great day and be safe out there.